Alright everyone, so this is your video to help you walk through your second essay assignment. This one, first thing I want you to do is make sure you open and save the document, and then make sure you're following along as I'm explaining it. So essentially this paper is taking what you did in the first paper and we're expanding on it. So you are going to have a longer paper simply because you're taking the exact same information you already had and expanding with more research. So you are going to be diving into the topic that you chose, and the topic needs to stay the same, simply because you've already written 3 or 4 pages at least. So there's really not a great point in making you switch. So same topic, same paper, you're adding research to this to better support your claims. This is also a good chance for you to kind of go back and edit maybe areas that the first essay may or may not have been successful on. So basically, you are going to have at least 4 sources incorporated in the essay. Part of the research requires you to have at least 6 sources, but you can cut it down to 4 for the essay if you like. One of these will have to be an interview, so that one absolutely must be incorporated into the final essay, but the other 3 to 5 is your choice. So the ultimate essay is going to be 6 to 7 pages in length, and what I don't want to see is your first essay and then 2 pages added on. I want you to go back in and incorporate the research into other portions of your essay so that it organically grows into a solid research essay. So just to reiterate, make sure you don't keep it the same and then just add 2 pages. You want to go back and add the research into the original essay. It is due by Sunday, April 2nd at midnight, as usual. Mla formatting is required, so Times New Roman, 12-point double-spaced, 1-inch margins, header, and page numbers in the top right corner. Everything's going to be checked through Turnitin as usual, and then again, the minimum page length requirements, so 6 pages means 6 pages to the very bottom of the page at minimum. The general requirements is that you have to keep the same topic, and that you are going to use, again, the same accepted parts of an essay: intro, body, conclusion, transitions, etc. And then you'll still have your concrete basis or claim with the introduction, at least 3 reasons with evidence, and your evidence here is going to be your research. So this is where things kind of change from the first essay. You need lots of good, logical, credible evidence here to support your ideas. Again, same 2 to 3 opposing views, and again, here's a really great opportunity to use that research where you could actually show what the other side is, and then use the research to either debunk it or show what that side was. And then appropriate number and use of required sources. Your final submission requirements are going to be a little bit similar to the last one, but I have a couple more things. So same letter of introduction. Annotated bib is going to be really important, so we're going to talk about that in a second. Peer review is going to be equally important, and the dates for that are right here. This time, your peer review, your essay, your rough draft for peer review must be submitted by Wednesday, March 22nd. So again, note that that's different than the usual Sunday deadline. Wednesday, March 22nd, and then you have until 4 days to do the turnaround and do the peer review for your partners, and that must be completed by Sunday, March 26th at midnight. And that will give you a whole week to work on your essay with peer reviews done. And then, of course, the copy of your final essay. So here's a document guide to kind of help you. It has an annotated bib guide, an outline, and a self-edit guide. So the annotated bib, very simply, is how you keep track and logically organize your sources. So you are going to create a citation first. So this is the usual thing that you would put on a bibliography. It's this item right here. And then from there, you're going to go in and you're going to add about a paragraph that basically gives a very short summary of what the source says. And then you're going to add your analysis of the source. So how do you think you might use it in the essay? How effective is it? What biases do you see? So this is where you evaluate your source on how useful it might be. It may not be a useful source. You may do the research, find that it doesn't help your argument that much. And you can say that on your annotated bib. You can say that I don't think this will help because X. But usually you can analyze the source for how credible and how effective it will be in terms of your argument. And that's very simply all you have to do. So you'll do this for 6 sources at least. You can do 6 to 8. One of those must be an interview. So make sure that you have at least 6 sources in an interview, and you'll have a place to submit that before the deadline. You will also, this is also an optional guide, so it's just an idea of a way that you can really keep track of your sources to help you. So if you decide to do it this way, and this is something you can use in multiple classes, you can use a note card system to kind of help you with keywords, source numbers, source page numbers, where you might want to put it in your essay or your argument, and then the information or the main idea that it's trying to convey. Really what this is designed to do is to help you when you go in to write your essay, so you're not shuffling through papers and trying to find where that one quote was or that one statistic. It's all right here, and it's easy to pull from and easy to integrate. So this is really just an idea for you, but you can also create different kinds of cards. So you can create a bib card, which tells you what the source is and all the information on it. You could do a quote for simply just for quotes themselves, a paraphrase, or a summary card. So again, this is just an optional thing, but it's here to help you if you need it, if you want some type of organizational system. The interview guide is really just to kind of help you understand how to conduct the interview. So the first thing you need to do is find someone connected to your topic, whether it's your side or the other side is your choice. Usually you're going to pick someone who supports your side because that's a stronger piece of evidence. But you want to pick somebody who has credibility. So I wouldn't pick, your neighbor down the hallway who happens to, be a voter if you're going to talk about voters' rights. I would pick someone who has some type of expertise or some kind of direct experience or something of that nature. For example, if you're going to talk about something with politics, the example here is that you might go to an instructor who teaches poli-sci and ask them the information. So really try and pick somebody who's a good, credible source. So you want to make sure that you, this is just a general guideline on how to conduct interviews in case you're nervous about it, in case you aren't sure how to conduct an interview with someone for something like this. Make sure you introduce yourself and tell them why you're there, of course. And I guarantee you they'll be much more responsive if you tell them this is for a course and this is the due date and this is why I need this information. Make sure you bring at least 5 questions. So make sure you are prepared with specific questions. Don't take up their time by being flustered or not being able to find your questions. Make sure you're prepared. You go in and you give them, enough time as is needed to answer the questions, but don't take up too much of their time because they're very busy. And then also make sure the questions extend beyond yes or no, because that's not going to be helpful for you when you go to write your essay. You need quotes. You need specific pieces of information that you can pull from these sources. If they can't talk to you, don't show up right at their door and asking for an interview at that moment. Maybe it's the best idea to contact them ahead of time, set up an appointment, and then utilize those 20 minutes or so, which is really all you should need, effectively, so that you're really respecting their time. If they are able to speak to you by email instead of in person, or if that's the only way they can talk to you, make sure you do an introductory email first where you ask what they might be able to do and the information that you need and how many questions you might have for them. All these things are really important because everyone's very busy, and then once you have that response that it says, yes, please go ahead and send me the questions, then you can go ahead and send the questions. And then make sure you give them a deadline of when you need the answers back if you're going to do it in writing, so that you don't run up against the clock. And then, of course, make sure you tell them thank you so much for their time and thank you for, going out of their way to help you for this. And then, of course, doing your interviews, make sure you keep good notes. So whether you're writing it down, recording it, whatever it might be, keep good notes so that you can go and pull those notes when you go to do your essay. So that's your prompt for essay number 2. If you have questions about it, let me know. Otherwise, go ahead and move on to your next assignment.